Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Improve Podcast, the official podcast of CLSC Studios, where we get together once a week to discuss our goals surrounding our passion projects. I am your host, Chase Collins, and this week we have an amazing podcast for you all. I'm so excited to share Michael's story. That's the guest we have on. He is a former bandmate, a former roommate, and a musical genius. I am so excited for you guys to hear his story. For the last 2-3 years, he's been going on this epic quest to really shape himself as a musician and who he wants to be as an artist and a professional. And it's just really beautiful to hear his story. So I can't wait for you guys to hear that. I'm not going to spend too much longer on this introduction because we have such a large podcast. So I'm just going to call it quits for right now, roll the intro music, and let you all get to listening to this amazing conversation we had. I think anyone and everyone who's interested in pursuing their dreams will get something really valuable from Michael's story. So without further ado, here is the rest of the podcast. Oh, wait. I tricked you there for a second, didn't I? Man, I didn't even say welcome. Happy Monday. Well, happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you all set your goals. I hope you all, set your goals for this week. I hope you all achieved your goals that you set last week. So, all right. Well, that's it now officially. No more tricks. Okay, roll the intro music. Bye. All right. Well, first things first, I gotta say hi to Craig. Shout out to Craig. This week on the podcast, we have musical genius, multi-instrumentalist, and my good friend Mike, aka Green Bean, here on the podcast. He obviously didn't start as a musical genius, but he has come very far, and right now he has his hands in like several different projects, most of which I don't even have half of the context for to give a proper introduction for. So I'm just gonna hand it off to Mike. How you doing, man?
Chase, how's it going, man?
It's going good, dude. Happy Friday. We're recording this on a Friday, and
Dude,
it's a good
Friday,
day.
Veterans Day. Thanks to all the vets out there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, man. So this is like a topical podcast. We're giving shout
Dude,
outs to like
yeah,
current holidays, man, instead of
yeah.
like three
Current
weeks
holiday stuff.
delayed.
Yeah,
Uh,
no. I like being current on topical things.
That's right, man. Usually I'm like, I feel like I have my one foot in the past and one foot in the future because of how I record these podcasts. So it's nice to have one that's like, oh no, we're recording this on the 11th and it's going to come out on the 14th. So that's pretty good for me. That's pretty good.
Dude, yeah, we're like kind of in the present. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's as present
Dude,
as I've ever been.
and shout out to Craig, our boy
Uh,
Craig.
oh yeah, doing sound again, man. Always
Dude, doing
here.
our fan.
But
MVP.
yeah, man. So, I'm really excited for this podcast, to really go through like your story and how you became this, musical powerhouse that you are. Like, oh man, and I
Dude,
can't wait
I
to
appreciate
share
that.
some of the stuff at the very end. There's some exciting twists and turns throughout this podcast, so like everyone stay tuned. It's gonna be
It's gonna be
one
fun,
for
man.
the record books.
And I appreciate you having me out and like getting a chance to talk about this because I usually like hate talking about myself. So this is cool.
Well, now, like, all the, restraints are off, man. Just let it go. This is
Dude,
all
yeah.
about you today.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. So why don't you get started with like how you got into music? So we're gonna start from the very beginning and go through how you like became, yeah, this powerhouse. So let's start at the beginning.
Ooh, where to start? I guess that
The
makes it
beginning.
easy. Yeah, the very beginning. Such a long time ago. So I started playing guitar when I was 12 years old, and I'm bad at math, so I have no clue how long ago that was, nor
Well,
do
you're
I want to.
26, 27 right now?
27 now. Can Craig calculate that for us?
Craig can't, but I can. What is
Okay.
that? 15 years?
Yeah, 15 years it is. I'll trust you.
No, that's right.
I, My mind's built for music, not math. Here, let me drink some coffee.
It's crazy how close those two things really are, though, right?
Yeah, for a lot of people, but for me, there's there's no connection
Right.
whatsoever. But I'm special. All right, so I started playing when I was 12 years old, and the reason I started playing uh, directly was because me and my buddy Brian, we got super into Guitar Hero. So that was kind of like
No way.
our indoctrination. And we mastered that game. I think we beat it on expert within a year. Like we were just super into it. And that exposed me to like all the music uh that went with Guitar Hero, like, classic rock, heavy metal, that kind of stuff. And I was also like exposed to that like in my early childhood, and I always loved it. But in the days before computers and everything, I couldn't just be like, "Hey, let's Siri, what song is playing right now?"
Yeah.
Uh so Guitar Hero was like, "Bam, here are all these artists. This is everything I've been wanting to listen to. Here's all the info. Here's even you can pretend to play along with the song." So that was really cool for me, and it just kind of got me like hook, line, and sinker. So I was, uh, yeah. So I just wanted to be like Slash.
Yeah.
Like I heard "Sweet Child of Mine" and looked up the music video for that, and I was like, I want to do that. That's all
Oh
I care
man.
about now. So
Dang,
yeah, I
that's
just got
awesome.
like first it just clicked with me, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Uh, Everything else uh, doesn't matter.
Wow.
So, to an extent, I mean, I got pretty obsessed with it, but and I still am. But we'll get into that in the next however long this lasts. I need more coffee, Chase. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't know that it was. I mean, of course, everyone played Garage Band, or what was it called?
Guitar Hero.
All right.
You're good, man. It's
Um,
it's an early morning.
it is an early morning. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone played Guitar Hero back then, but I always wanted to master one song, so I would just play the same song over and over and over and over again, and I never progressed. I just
Dang,
stayed trying to do one song because I have
that's
such
funny.
bad rhythm. Um,
Yeah,
so
we got super into that. But anyway, me and my boy Brian, as you may know from this podcast, we started playing guitar together. Started taking music lessons, and at one point we started guitar lessons. We had a group of like 7 kids, and then it slowly whittled down to after 3 years, I was the only one left. And Brian, in that time, took up the drums. So logically, two different instruments, same friend group. Oh, my brother played too, and so we started like these little middle school bands. We had like a million different names going on, and then you know, when you don't have cars and you live out in the middle of nowhere, like it was just us two or three, uh, probably driving our parents insane. But like
yeah.
that's how you need to do that, and it was so great that they let us do that at weird hours of the day. And shout out to Brian's family for always putting up with that, because if you're not into the whole band scene and don't know, most of the time practice is always where the drum set is, because that's the hardest thing to move. So Brian's family got stuck with having the drummer.
Oh man.
And I'm sure I can only imagine, coming home from stressful job at work only to have all this noise
Yeah.
emanating from your basement.
Have your ears just
Yeah,
accosted.
bleeding.
And
But
like, yeah, because it's not pretty music necessarily. It's like you're practicing songs
Dude,
and you only get like partway through, or you're practicing a chorus like 30 times in a row. It's like
yeah,
that's
repetition,
not enjoyable.
dude, and especially coming from like 12 to 15-year-olds was
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and then Brian joined a death metal band
Oh
that
man,
I was
so
in for a week. Yeah, so they got like the real deal of not so pretty, not so pretty sounds.
yeah. Whenever I have kids, I honestly don't know if I'll let them be drummers. It's like, nope, sorry, man.
Anything but drums.
Anything but drums.
I,
We'll see
I
though.
wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame
Yeah. So you started, yeah, I guess playing in middle school and high school, taking guitar lessons, and from there, what happened?
So middle school we were jamming around, and then in high school we eventually formed a little band called Delta Wave, and so that was me on guitar, Brian on drums, our boy Sam playing bass, and our other buddy Eric singing and playing rhythm guitar. And I bring that up because that was super foundational. We played at this like high school talent show thing, and that was like the coolest thing ever. My dad like still listens to that recording all the time, which is really funny. Uh, but I bring that up because once we all went to college and ended up going to the same school together, more or less, uh, we formed a new band that became known as Fat Stanley. And
Oh yeah.
so that was all of those same members, except funny enough, we didn't go to school with old Eric. We got a new Eric. So we always thought that was funny. It was virtually the same band, just a different Eric. Uh, so that was fun. Fat Stanley was I was a driving force behind like a lot of the songwriting and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I actually like got to play gigs, and because I mean we're in college, we can get into bars now, and bars are the easiest in terms of like loud rock music. Uh, you can play open mic nights and acoustic stuff in a lot of different places like coffee shops, etc. But
Yeah.
Fat Stanley, that was really like my first chance, like us as a band's first chance to like play places like in front of people. So that was amazing. Uh, and we were trying to like all of us were in to like make Fat Stanley like it. My approach to it is like if I could do music for a living, uh, I do it in a heartbeat. But that's much easier said than done. Like it's almost impossible to monetize that. But
Mm-hmm.
Fat Stanley, like we were making money technically, but one of our bigger selling points was we'll play for cheap and we'll bring people out. And we've always been very lucky to have family and friends that supported us. And I mean, I'm talking to one of those friends right now, man.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Chase was like our secret fifth member.
That's true.
Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was.
dude, MVP. You probably did more work than any of us.
I wouldn't say that, but I was definitely there for a lot of it, and I was there for the recordings and everything like that. Oh, which is kind of a little bit in the future, but I was there. I was doing sound for y'all when we probably didn't need a sound guy.
No, dude, like we definitely every band needs a sound guy.
That's
It's
true.
just that I don't know. Every band needs a sound guy.
Yeah, that's right, man. And during those college days, like you still have to practice. Like you're playing some gigs at bars and stuff. But y'all's, and forgive me if you were gonna touch on this, but I'm gonna step all over you. Something you were doing was you guys rented out a storage unit in order to practice. Which, if you're not familiar with storage units, it's just a metal shack.
Yeah, it was just I think 15 by 15 tin can. Like the
Yeah.
walls were made of sheet metal. So like the most absolutely terrible for sound you could possibly imagine. And I don't know if the audience has been around like a live acoustic drum set, and it's definitely the way Brian played because he would smack the crap out of those things,
Oh
and
yeah.
it was awesome. So of course I had my Marshall half stack, all trying to keep up with that in this little tiny tin box. So like if you didn't wear hearing protection, you would probably legitimately lose part of your hearing if you stayed in there for more than like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it
It was
was
miserable.
I was there for many a band practice, just getting rowdy, and it was loud. It was loud, and like the acoustics were awful. It would reverberate and just echo.
Yeah,
But
I think we even recorded some of our EP in that, which
oh
is
my god, that's
so
right.
stupid. But man, what such a fun time period! Like played at some of my favorite shows ever. Uh, my personal favorite was dude, do you remember the Crayola sh- uh g- the Crayola gig that we played? It was in like that hipster basement.
Yes. Yeah, I was there for that.
So that was a personal favorite for me because like we were part of a music scene, and
Yeah.
uh, I was in writing class with uh, the girl. Can't remember her name. Not that that's important. Uh, she did all the booking there. It was like, hey, I have a band, and I know this way better band. I'll get them to headline. And
Ooh.
that other band was one of my good friend Mike, his band down in Richmond, and they were like shoegaze kind of music, if you're familiar, kind of like My Bloody Valentine or like Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
They're amazing, and he was like he is like 4 years older than me, 4 or 5, and he was like a huge influence on me, like learning to play the guitar because we were good like church friends. We would spend hours hanging out, and he'd show me some things or two on the guitar, and showed me a lot of bands. Like he got me into Rush, which is my favorite band ever. He showed me Tame Impala back in like 2012, and they're my favorite band for the longest time. So huge influence on me as a musician growing up, and to finally play a gig with him like together, that was
Yeah.
just like a highlight for me.
Oh
Uh,
man, that's awesome.
it was amazing.
And that was the college era. So and y'all released an EP
Yeah, we
for
so let's take a step back just to like that was such a fun time period, man. Like the Fat Stanley college years, because like we were incredibly busy. I mean, we're all full-time students, and I
Mhm.
think all of us graduated on time somehow, and
Oh yeah.
all involved in more than just Fat Stanley, like outside of school. Uh,
Right.
we all had social life, so like incredibly busy time period. But like, uh, we were playing gigs. We recorded an EP, which like I think we did it all in a week during winter break, and
Oh,
it
that's sick.
it sounded like garbage because I did the mixing and mastering and producing on GarageBand. But the way we were able to do that so quickly is we had all the songs pre-written, and I mean Brian and I we were like so in sync musically, we could just crank that out. And I think half of the songs I already had like pre-recorded because we just kind of like rehashed some material that I had from like my solo stuff in like community college.
Mhm.
So we were able to whip that out, and that was huge because uh, I think it's really important as a band to have like something to show people other than just the live music, especially if you're playing original music. So like within I want to say 3 to 4 months of us being a band, we put out an EP, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's really
We're all
awesome.
full-time musicians. And
Students.
dude, I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm glad I remembered about it because it kind of set the stage for my absolutely insane lifestyle that I have these days. So I was a writing major, and for one class, we had this assignment where we had to plan out like the next 4 years of our lives, like after we graduate college, what
Oh.
kind of jobs we're going to be doing and how we're going to like spend our free time or whatever, roughly along those lines. And my plan was I'm going to become a contractor, what have you. Uh, and I'm going to do music on the side for as much as I can. And I think I can pull up the assignment, but we don't have that much time. I wish I reread it because I'm sure I'd crack up. But I was like, I'm gonna have my like pretty comfy day job, like fairly high salary or whatever, and I'm also gonna do music on the side until I make it big. I'm gonna like reach out to Dave Grohl, get him to listen to our all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm sure. Uh,
That's so awesome though,
but,
because like,
but
yeah.
sorry, go on.
No, no, go ahead. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so my professor like confronted me about that and was like, "You realize this is completely undoable, right? Like you're no one has that much energy. You're you're not going to be able to do both." And I was like, "Are you serious?" Like and I didn't like the professor very much.
Right. What a
And
terrible professor. Jeez Louise.
she was probably very realistic and I don't think she was a fan of me because I was a huge procrastinator and uh I wouldn't do any of
Sure.
my work until the last minute, and then I would turn in my essays, and they would be really good. So I think she hated me.
That's awesome.
Uh, anyway, so she was like, "This is kind of unrealistic. I think you should think about like maybe restructuring some stuff." And I was like, "No, like this has been the plan." Uh, blah, blah, blah. And especially the career part was probably the most unrealistic in her eyes because I'm this stupid college kid. Anyway, uh, so that I already had that mentality of like I want to work my day job, have that stability, and then on the side, gonna do music as much as possible, and like hopefully someday it'll go somewhere. So that was my mentality going out of college. So and you know what? I proved that teacher wrong because that's exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah.
As
That's
crazy
what's
as it might be.
well, I mean, yeah, I think that professor is like way in the wrong for saying that you can't do that. Like if somebody has goals and dreams, like who are you to say no, you shouldn't be doing those
Oh
things?
yeah,
Like it's
I
the
think she was
exact
just she was
she's
being
projecting.
jelly. Oh, exactly, man.
Like I couldn't do that, so you can't. And like,
Haters. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
everyone has different
Dude,
capabilities.
100%, man. I
Yeah.
think anyone, because the way you approach things, and this will the improved podcast. Here, let's talk about that for a second. If you have goals and you break like you have long-term goals, the big goals, and break them down into smaller and smaller, reachable, attainable things, you can do anything. As long
Mhm.
as you have the mindset of this is possible, I'm capable of this. That I think that's actually the first criteria. You need to have that mindset of I can do this. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
'Cause if you don't, you're just gonna fail.
Yeah, and
You're
it
gonna
can
fail
even
a lot
be
anyway.
yeah. You just need to be okay with failing and I kind of wanted to do a podcast on this, but like breaking down your long-term goals into like attainable tasks, right? Like, the long-term goal of becoming like a famous musician and, you know, reaching out to Dave Grohl. It's like, okay, man, that's crazy. But it's like, well, I'm gonna start with my local college band and playing at bars and then releasing an EP and then eventually working up to an album. Like those are all very attainable goals. And then as long as you're progressing towards something, you can eventually have something to show for it at the end of the day. Like, whether music works out or whether this podcasting works out, it doesn't really matter because we have something to show for it. And like I've already become a better person since launching this podcast, and you've become clearly, like, not clearly, sorry, that's insulting. You've become a phenomenal musician just by,
that's,
taking
that's not
steps towards towards your goals, from your rock band, or what is it, not from your video game music playing
yeah.
stages to now.
Started
Like
playing
you're clearly a
guitar.
much better musician.
Oh, dude, yeah. And yeah, the progression of like, yeah, just as a musician, like nobody starts unless you're Mozart or some like literal child prodigy. Nobody starts being good at it.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and I'm not sure. Maybe I had an inclination to it. I think the most important part is just having the drive and desire to be better at it because I had that
Hmm.
100%. And over 15 years, trying to learn something new every day, uh, or playing something new every day. Uh, just over time, you're gonna get better, and that's with anything in life. But yeah, with like the long term goals of like being like a professional musician or what have you, uh, in terms of like the crazy dreams, like that kind of pursuit, I think it's important to be okay if it doesn't work out the way you expect it.
Hmm.
But for me, like I just love music that much, and as long as I'm like pursuing that, I d- I don't really care where I end up. It's just the pursuit of like just writing music and playing it in front of people is enough, like in and of itself.
Right.
Uh, and I think that's important. Maybe not totally necessary with any goal, but for the like less realistically achievable ones, like being a rock star or whatever, I think that's important to have. Of like, if this doesn't pan out, I'm fine, and I am.
Right. And that's what,
And
like,
that was
that's,
me in college, like, ooh, sky's the limit. Like, I'm not
yeah.
way less focused on like being a doing this for a living
But I
now.
think it's important to have that baked into your game plan and your approach to achieving your dreams is having not even like a backup plan, but having something that can support you as you work towards your goals. Like
Oh yeah,
you had built in, like, I'm going to be a contractor as my day job so I can support myself and, buy a house and do all these things. And on the side, I'm going to be pursuing my true passion, my hobbies. That's exactly what weird, like, all of my friends who are on great paths are all doing that type of thing, and it's I think it's like one of the smartest things we can do. Like I very easily could have gotten a degree in screenwriting or something like that and been a starving artist, like moving out to California or New York to become a famous screenwriter. And it's like, yeah, but what will I have to show for that, like, professionally? Like, I wouldn't be near the place where I'm at if I chose to do that. I would be struggling as a writer because there's a million people who are doing that, but there's very few
dude. Yeah,
people.
I agree 110%. I think that's one of the best advices you can give to like a creative person as they're trying to figure out like what they want to do with their life.
Hmm.
Because I was always like very creative minded, uh, like as a kid. Uh, but creativity, it's incredibly hard to monetize. And I have the utmost respect because I know some people that like just said, "Hey, I'm just doing this. Like I don't care. I'm gonna be the starving artist. I'm gonna." And when you're at the beginning stages of it, like you are, like it can be the struggle. Uh, so utmost respect for the people that are just like, screw it, I'm going in like all in just on the creative pursuit. Like that takes more balls than I ever had, quite
Right.
frankly. And sometimes I think like, should I have just went for it? Uh, but uh, for my own like long term success and for what I want like out of life, like I want a family eventually. I just knew like I need the strong foundation of like worst case, say I lose my hands and I can't play guitar anymore. I could have something.
Right. Right.
And and that's advice from like not just me or you, like Jordan Peterson has talked about that and I'm a huge fan of him.
Yeah, me too.
Cuz he describes like being creative minded, like right side of the brain thinking uh when you're not doing that, like professionally, that's not your career. Like both of us are very left brained jobs right now, which I can kind of do both. But
Mhm.
Jordan Peterson described that as like almost like a tree without roots.
Mm.
Like and that really went home with me starting my career after college was I excel at like creative things and making music,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Who knows if it's any good, but like I can put it out there.
Right.
I can
Right.
crank it out. Uh, so to like really go nose to the grinder, like, oh, I have a 40-hour job where I'm doing bureaucratic nonsense for most like a lot of my time. That was really hard for me to adjust to that. Because I definitely didn't have that at first. But once I kind of got used to that and like that mindset, I still did the music on the side and we kept Fat Stanley going. Uh,
Yeah. So you graduated college, and you uh, did the things that you wrote in your 4 year.
yeah, showed
Um,
my professor on.
yeah, exactly. So that's like really impressive, and you were able to keep the band together, and
Yeah,
yeah,
we somehow all ended up in the same town after college, which was cool. And then me, you, and our boy Brian, we were all nose to the grindstone with the music pursuit, man. Like we made a commitment. We rented a house together. Uh, made a recording studio. Well, you made a recording studio,
yeah, me and Brian, dude.
and I was like along for the ride. And that was so much fun. I think we spent, especially you, man. You like you don't give yourself enough credit. I think you're freaking great, man, and you helped us out so much without needing to at all. Like you're the MVP of Fat Stanley. This
Oh,
guy, he did our sound. He produced our entire like official first album, He Who Rides a Tiger, out on Spotify. Set up the Discord, did all that stuff. So, dude, thanks again. Like I know I've thanked you before, but thanks, dude.
for sure, man. Well, I wanted to do it, like, and I believed in you guys, and I still believe in all of you. It's impressive, when you see talent, it's like it's easy to get behind and it's easy to dedicate
Thanks, man.
what you're
I appreciate
dedicate
that.
your time towards it. You guys are incredibly talented group of folks, and I'm was more than happy to do it, especially because I was working on music too, so it
Yeah,
allowed me to like flex my and learn how to do like proper music production. Not proper, allowed me to learn like the
I'd
basics of
say
music
proper.
production. We did our best with what we
It's a
had.
learning curve, man. It's like anything. Like
Yeah.
you can only get better by doing it, and the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
so that
like the
was
stuff you've been putting out lately, man, like the beats, like that's like pro level stuff, man.
oh, thanks, dude.
So like to
Uh,
see the progression has been awesome, dude.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
like
Go ahead.
everyone starts at the bottom, man. And
Oh yeah.
I forget where it's from, but like you have to be open to knowing nothing,
Mm,
and that's where everyone starts. And
yeah.
if you approach it like I know nothing all the time, who knows what you learn. But anyway,
Uh, that's a
dude,
bar right there.
but back to that whole time period, like I swear every waking moment, like outside of our jobs, was I'll say nearly every waking moment was spent doing some sort of music thing. Like if we weren't doing Fat Stanley or like in the studio, we were doing raps and stuff.
Yeah,
And maybe
it
that's a
really
little
was.
hyperbolic, but it was pretty much the truth. Like we were approaching it like this is we're gonna make this as legitimate as possible because we are all set on like I want to get out of my office job. Help me.
Yeah.
So we pretty much had two full-time jobs, and I'm
No, we
still
really
kind of that
did.
way now.
Oh yeah. No, we really did. We had full-time jobs and we were so after we graduated college, we all got a house together and were set on releasing an album like within a year. That was our goal and that's what we were writing music, we were, figuring out how to produce, we were figuring out how to record, and then we were mixing and mastering all with the goal of releasing, the first album. He Rides the Tiger on I guess it was what we launched it on New Year's.
New Year's 2020,
That's
right? Going into
crazy.
2020, and I feel like we just jinxed the entire world.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we really did. We started riding that tiger, that's for sure.
We released that album. We had like for our standards, like a very legitimate tour all over Virginia planned, and then COVID ruined all of that. I think we made it to March, right? End of March. I think we played like 6 or 7 shows, like in Fredericksburg, Harrisonburg, like Charlottesville, and we. This was the coolest thing that I was looking forward to. We were gonna open up. We were gonna open for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's a
Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers cover band down in Virginia Beach at this like pretty legit uh venue because we're used to playing at like craft bars, craft beer bars and breweries. You know what I'm trying to say? Coffee.
Mhm.
I need more coffee.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that's what we were used to. That was our vibe was, bars, local bars and stuff like that. And somehow, I have no idea, Michael, you like booked us for opening the Red Knot Chili Peppers. And they're like a very respectable cover band. Like people know them
oh yeah, they had like thousands of followers. Like there are gonna be like a few thousand people there, and
just for them. And we were going to open
yeah,
for them. So
we're
that
gonna
was
open,
huge
and
for
we're
us.
also gonna like we're gonna backline all of their equipment, so they're gonna use our amps and drum sets and everything.
That's crazy.
And oh, and to top it off, after that, I was also planning the first ever adventure stock, which is kind
Mhm.
of like my brainchild with Adventure Brewing, like this music festival that I organized. And it started as the Rock and Hops Festival, and then they were like, let's make it a little bigger. Let's make it Adventure Stock, like their Woodstock. Just like a single day, like maybe 5 bands at the most, but still like super cool. So I was organizing that. And then COVID happened. Oh, we were about to play on St. Patrick's Day, and that got
Uh,
canceled
yeah.
down in Fredericksburg. I forget where at, but some cool bar. Uh, and then I remember. Oh no, the first gig that got canceled was up in DC. So I just started a job in DC at the time, like February 2020, or March, whatever. The timeline is wonky in my brain.
It was
And
like
yeah, that got
spring
canceled
2020.
because like suddenly COVID, everyone was terrified. I mean, I was kind of afraid of it at first.
Sure.
That's neither here nor there. But yeah, it COVID just kind of ruined Fat Stanley. Like we had to cancel all of our shit, like half of our tour. Uh, but we got one last hurrah, and that was playing at Adventure Stock.
And so explain what adventure stock is.
So it was like a single day, like mini music festival that I organized, and I forget who we had playing at the first one that we did, but I know Fat Stanley was the second to last to play, and then Lucy's Letdown, fronted by this phenomenal musician that I recently started playing with, Huntley. Uh, he was their singer, but that was so much fun, and had all other music buddies playing like during the day. Uh,
And so that was like an all-day event that was
all
supposed to
day event.
that took place like right as COVID was like getting started, and that was our really like our last
No.
show.
So that was kind of like in the middle of the pandemic in the first year. That was in
Oh,
August.
really?
Yeah. So I think it was me and you running Sam. But yeah, there was like a brief window in 2020 where they were like easing restrictions. Like you could have more than, well, I don't even know about that, but
Outdoor parties or
you could
something like.
go, like you could actually have people at a venue. Like you didn't have to order your. I almost forgot how dystopian that was for a second. But yeah, there was a very brief window where they were like, "We can make this happen. Just don't spread the word too much because we don't want the cops to get here." You know,
Mhm.
uh, so we're just barely able to pull that off. I think in like August 2020, and then that was when life happens. Drummers get married, and then it's not like we could really play anywhere after that anyway for a long time. Life happens. So the band broke up. Yeah, and COVID kind of killed Fat Stanley, which was tough for me.
Well, Michael, I think that might be a good place to maybe pause.
Dude, yeah, let's pause.
Because we've already been recording for about 40 minutes. So we're going to split this into two parts, and part two will be live on Wednesday. And you'll get to hear about the rest of Michael's journey. But I think like the big takeaway was, man, the like setting those goals and like breaking them down and like pursuing what you set your mind to. Like that was so I didn't expect the conversation to go that way, and it was really inspiring. It's like, dang, you did that, Michael.
Man,
Like, good job.
I'm thanks, buddy, and I'm still doing it. And it's not about like I I just do it because this is what I love doing,
Right.
and I can't imagine spending my time doing anything else because this is what's like fulfilling and like meaningful for me.
Yeah.
And for some people, that might be binge watching Netflix, you know.
Mhm.
And I still do plenty of that, but
Oh yeah.
I'm very fortunate to have found, you could call it a hobby. For me, it's like a passion, and I
Yeah.
just plan on doing this until I die. And whatever happens as a result of it, that's just part of the fun.
That's just icing on the cake. Well,
That's
yeah, I
icing
love
on the
that.
cake, brother.
I love that, man, and I think I'm so excited to hear for part 2 to, go over how you're able to hold all of that together and manage that. I know
Oh, I haven't. No.
yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll tune in Wednesday for part 2 of Michael's story.